Good morning, South Rock, and welcome to week 26 of the Story Devotional. We are heading towards the end as we now see the Lord's Supper through Jesus' crucifixion. A very heavy chapter, and I honestly struggled to find one key thing to talk about, to devote ourselves to this week, because it's so heavy, because so much happens, so many things that are symbolic, so many things that are impacting our lives to this day. A lot could be said. But what I want to turn our attention to is Jesus' prayer in Gethsemane, because it should remind us of a similar prayer and a similar devotion that we heard in chapter 18, as three men are about to be thrown into a fiery furnace, and they say, look, we believe our God will save us, but even if he doesn't, he's still God. And the prayer that Jesus has as he's going towards the cross is so similar. He says, Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will. And so Jesus says, look, I don't want to do this. Who would? Who would want to go die this horrific death? So he says, Lord, if this is possible, don't let this happen. But then he finishes by saying, but it's your will, not mine. Let your will be done. And that's so similar to, we believe that it's possible, but if it doesn't happen, God is still God. Let God's will be done. And these two stories are very contrastable because the three men were saved and Jesus still died. So God was still God in both these situations. And I think it's very telling for how we ought to pray in every situation, whether the situation ends up how we pray it out, like God help us in this situation, and the situation resolves itself and we're joyful over that, or we pray for something and it doesn't follow through. It ends up happening the way we don't want it to happen. Either way, our God is still God and his will still be done. And so this week, what I want you to focus on, what I want you to think about is a place or an area, a situation, a relationship in your life where you need to relinquish control. You need to let go and let God. A very a cliche statement that I don't really like to say, but for this prayer, I think it's so important. As we look into our own relationships or situations that we're in, just to say, God, I want to jump into this, or God, I want to fix this, or God, I know how I would have this situation handled. But then to finish that prayer with, but let your will be done, not mine, let your will be done. So that's all I have for this week. So I'll see you next time.